I know, you can't sit up for... Do you want me just to read this? What can I say?
It's going to be like a...
Okay, so we've decided to stop the video. Tim had actually put in heaps of work and made a little video about this recovery, but we just rewatched it and felt like maybe we can't tell the story as we normally tell our stories. You know, sharing stories and sharing stories that are our kids' stories is something that Tim and I are always working through and working out. You know, is this dignifying? Is this going to serve a community? For this week, we actually just pulled the plug on our video that was edited because we felt like it wasn't serving Zach. Perhaps that some of these things can't be shared, particularly when people are really young and can't give consent. So for this week and this story that we're sharing, we're going to just share it from my perspective because we just feel like it's a little bit sensitive and a little bit tricky telling the story through what Zach went through, which has been so much. So for those that have watched, we did share a story of SDR surgery, and that night recovery was really intense. I think for anyone else out there who's had time in ICU, you know what an intense time this is, and it was really hard for Zach and really hard for all of us. At the same time, River actually developed pneumonia that day, so Tim actually left the hospital and went home to a really sick River.
So River gets pneumonia pretty quickly. And today is Zaki's surgery day, and River has come down a little bit sick, and he deteriorates pretty quickly. I'm sorry, mate.
Thankfully we had all the medications, but he had a really dreadful night with River, and I was up and down the night with Zach as well. You know, for those that don't know, when you get spinal surgery, I think this is for most spinal surgery, particularly for the one that we had, selective dorsal rhizotomy, SDR, post-surgery you actually can't move much. So for the first 3 to 4 days, you can hardly move, so almost no rotation. And I think you can get up to 20 or 30 degrees on your bed. So as you can imagine, for a small child, this is a really challenging time. For that first day, I was actually alone at the hospital with a really good friend, and Tim couldn't come and visit me because River was so sick. For Zach, it was a really tough time because some of the medications he was coming off were pretty intense, and we moved down into our room that day, which was awesome to get out of that intensive care environment.
You're going to be a celebrity, Zach.
216. So that day, I mean, honestly, we just tried to give Zach as much television as possible to just distract him that he couldn't move and that he had a really big wound on his back.
It is Sunday, the day after Zach's surgery, and unfortunately River's got a bit crook last night, and so we are sort of housebound today, or apartment bound. What have you got, River? Is that your picture?
No, it's your picture.
Is it me?
Yeah, that's you. That one inside there.
That's my heart, is it?
That's one inside there.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful, River.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So the day after we got out of PICU, Zach did start to perk up a little bit, which was so nice because he'd been such a sad little monkey. And he also was given a lovely little toy from Papa as a bit of a treat, and he was really happy with that.
Who's that, Zaki?
Jet.
Jet. What does Jet say?
One time, anytime.
We're on time, every time.
Here's a paper plane. Look out, Mama.
There you are. I thought you were the giraffe.
So one of the great things about Portland Hospital where we were is a play therapist came at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, to help distract Zach. So she did painting and all these fun little things, and it really lifted Zach's soul when she came.
Hey?
Peppa.
What are you, Zachy? Are you a fireman?
You're an artist.
You're an artist today.
You are indeed.
One of the challenges that we face, and I think a lot of kids face this, and maybe some adults too, is Zach really doesn't like intervention and really doesn't like being handled and touched by the nursing or the doctor team. So this was an added dimension of stress for us during this period, and we tried lots of different techniques and tried sticker charts and reward things. However, he pretty much just hated all of it. So that made things really difficult.
What's up there?
My painting.
You're painting. There's Daddy Pig. There's Mama Pig. There's George. And there's Peppa. What does Peppa sound like?
So the next day was actually quite a good day for Zach. He was again a bit in better spirits, and River was able to come in, and they had their first brother time together, which went really nicely.
Check now. Hiya. Ah. It's one in here and flip.
Careful, Zachy.
One of the big things about post SDR is really quickly the team start working with you from the physio side. So from day 3, the physio team started coming twice a day and doing really simple movements, but just trying to get certain things moving, because we again were still in this really strict position of how we handle him. This also during this time when the physios came in, they actually brought a music therapist, which was so fun and brings so much energy and positivity for Zach. So also on that third day, Zach did a little bit of a sit-up, or a bit of movement in a sit-up position, so that felt really exciting, even though he had to go back down and lie down prone after that. But it was really exciting that he was able to start moving muscles again, and that, it's always fear as a parent when you have these sort of spinal or any major surgery that there will be other unintended consequences. So this was a really good sign for us that other things hadn't been damaged, but he was actually doing really well and his body was working as it should be. So on day 4, Zach was continuing his therapy, and one of the things the team told us was we couldn't create much movement ourselves, but if he initiated any movement, that was really good. And he actually on his own did a little turn and crawl to sit up on his own, and it was actually when our friends were visiting, so it was a really special moment and really blew us away out of nowhere.
What are you doing?
You just got up on your own.
Look at Simba.
Look at Simba.
I'm a real Simba.
Oh.
Having gone from lying down for days and days and days, and not really having much self mobility, but to be doing that was so special.
Look at this.
Yay!
I can even make this as a slide.
A slide. Hey, Zachy, show us your dancing. Oh, you haven't lost your dance moves.
Yay! Mommy's so happy. I can't believe you just did all that on your own.
Hey, River, what do you think? Zachy's moving around.
Right.
Great, there we go.
It also felt really special for us to have a really great friends come and visit us. These are really special friends of ours who we've lived with in Thailand, and by incredible chance they are in London for this few days that we were there, and were able to come and have some really nice time together.
We send it into the tunnel. We send it there. Ooh, 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 ooh.
That night was a really hard night for me and Zach. Zach got really bad muscle spasms. I actually felt like it was one of the worst nights I've ever had as a parent. I don't know, I felt like I was up 30 times. We just couldn't settle him and the medication wasn't working. We did use some strong painkillers, but he just had a really bad sort of reaction from all the movement the day before.
I'm going to do that because thanks for the balloon.
Which one? Spread the surface.
See that easy?
Where are we going?
To the gym.
To the gym.
I'm going to show River everything we saw.
You're going to show him the gym, are you? Is this your first time out of the room in a pram?
So day 5, we'd had this really bad night before. However, we still were able to do our first out of the room trip, and that was to go to the physio rooms, which Zach felt really excited about, I think, just to leave that hospital room. And he did really well. However, the rest of the day was a complete write-off for both of us. And he just slept for hours and hours and didn't really even do much in the afternoon session. That afternoon was also the first time a really big lump came up on Zach's back, and we were a bit worried about this lump because it was increasing in size, and yeah, we just didn't know what was going on. That night the specialist came and had a look, and he wasn't overly worried. This is actually something that happens in quite a lot of children. However, this is just a little flag that was put out there that this is something that we really had to keep an eye on.
So it's Friday morning and it's about 6 days after Zacky's surgery. River and I are just walking into the hospital. Each morning we get up and we go and visit Zacky and come back at the end of the day. And we are hoping that today he'll be discharged. So, gonna go see Zacky?
We managed to do a little bit of physio in the morning. However, because this lump on his back was quite fluctuating, the medical team wanted to wait for the specialist to come back. I guess that's one of the things about these long recoveries in hospital is there's a lot of waiting around and a lot of uncertainty. Zach was really keen to get out of the hospital, like from 9 in the morning. Yeah, like I said, he doesn't really love all the intervention and really struggles and gets quite stressed. So he was just chomping at the bit all day long.
Hey Mom,
Yeah?
how are we going to take this bed home with us?
Well, I don't think we can. We're going to have to just make do with what we've got at home.
So we've just spoken to the medical team here and it looks like Zacky's not going to be able to go home today like we had hoped. His wound is swelling up, like there's fluid underneath it, and they think it might be some of his spinal fluid. But the doctor's not going to come in till later tonight to have a look at it, so I think Zacky's going to be a little bit disappointed with that. Hey Zacky, I've spoken to the team here.
What did they say?
During this time we had a lot of help from good friends, and we had a bit of a daily routine that Tim would come in with River and I would try and actually have a little walk around the park for about 20-30 minutes just to get my head away from hospital life. Tim had a bit of a nightly routine. We'd try to have a bit of dinner maybe together, and then Tim would pack River up and walk home through the busy streets of London, up Oxford Street to our little apartment, and sometimes get up to a bit of mischief. The specialist came, and the specialist felt like because we were staying so close we could be put on leave, and he gave us a whole lot of instructions around what to do and yeah, if something goes wrong, what we need to do. What did the doctor just tell us?
What?
Did he say we can
go home. But our house is really tiny.
Yeah, tiny or tidy?
Tiny.
It's cute, isn't it? Now tell me, why are you excited? Who are you going to see when you get there?
River and Papa.
Who's River? Is he your...
Brother.
And?
Papa is my mama. Lift up.
Oh,
Okay,
Mummy's nervous about you doing such a long pram ride. Bye. Thanks for looking after me. Even though you didn't.
What do you reckon, Zachy? You happy to be outside? Look at the look on his face.
This is your first time outside in 6 days.
Do you feel on top of the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, post-surgery times are really tricky, and I know we're not alone in this. There are so many people out there that I know relate to this. And I think that's why we decided this week to not share everything from Zach's point of view, because it was such a hard week. You know, of course, on these moments you think, oh my gosh, what have we done? But we feel really confident, and we really believe we made the right decision doing this surgery for Zach. And we feel really hopeful that we've given him a chance of way less pain and way more mobility, even though it is a really big few weeks.
Open the door.
Come on, buddy. Hold on to Papa's neck.
Hello, River.
Hello.
Look who's here! Your brother's home! Now, Timmy, careful.
We've got his name changed, Mum and Dad, and I've got a new.
Right.